The update 138 has been added to Gran Turismo 7, and here are the update files. We got the RCR Civic, we got the Honda Civic Type R from 2022, and on top of that we got the Mazda 3 Group 4 car. So I think this is kind of a nice touch because it's finally they added another group car, so it's a Group 4 Mazda 3 car. And we got a couple of other cars that were added to the brand central. We got the Toyota Corolla 2022 edition and Toyota Ambulance from 2021. Yeah, and a couple of other events on the world circuit. So we got the new turbo sports cars, we got the turbo sports car on Dragon Trail, Grand Valley, and Mount Panorama has now the World Touring Car Event 700. They are actually featuring car designers, but on the other hand, this is a racing game, and it's turning out to be more like Escape then rather than the actual racing game. But there are a couple of things that I would also like to point out. I mean, GT Auto, a couple of other stuff in here. So the engine swaps, and you can unlock it when you reach level 50. It's kind of okay, but I don't know. It's kind of all of those additional things rather than circuits and cars, which is kind of okay because they're constantly adding new stuff to the game, but it's not the stuff that we really want in the game. I would really like to have one more circuit instead of all of this, but it is what it is. And I think the biggest feature now is they added the weather radar button on the quick menu, which I'm going to show you later. I think this is a deal breaker when it comes to random weather, because now you can really see how the weather is moving onto the track, which is absolutely really good. But I think what is the best thing out of all of this update is this first official esports event from Honda. So this is the new event. And you got two things that you need to go through. So you got the event for under 17, so which is mainly for younger, I mean it's not mainly, it's for younger population. And on top of that we got the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So here you have to beat the time that was set in real life. It was 7:44.881. If you beat that time, you will actually get a certificate. On top of that, that certificate will be sent to your email address. So I'm gonna quickly go through all of this. It's the first official esports event from Honda, and it's beginning today. The event is pretty much straightforward. So you got the Honda series, as I explained before. It's the online time trial challenge in Gran Turismo. So top ranking players from Japan will qualify for a GT Grand Final of 2023. Yeah, they're really pushing esports into all of this, but they should have at least gave us like 16 players from all around the world. I understand this because this is a Honda event, and I do understand why they only want Japanese drivers. It's a Japanese company, it's a Japanese game, but I mean, yeah, they should have, I think they should have thought about the rest of the world as well. I mean, it's good, but it could have been better. So we will quickly go through the update, and I will show you the most important parts. So if we go, let's say, if we go to the sport mode right here, and yes, this week we had pretty interesting weather combinations, and what's the real deal about this is that now there should be a weather radar on the left, and now you can really see how the weather is changing, and you can actually see that going from minus 60 minutes to the actual current time, you can actually see what's the weather gonna be in the future. So this will pretty much decide your strategy, if you're gonna start on the mediums or if you're just gonna go on the intermediates. And I think this is gonna play a huge role when it comes to strategy. Some people might get it right, some people might get it wrong, but it's nice to see that we actually have this thing going on. And you can see that the weather is going on pretty quickly, and on top of that you can finally decide what your strategy should be like. This is a nice one. I like this. And as I was saying about the Honda event, we will go to the time trial, and you can actually see that there are two events. As I said, this one is for the U17. Only younger drivers are eligible for this one. We got the new Tsukuba lap time challenge with the RCR Civic. I'm not sure how the lap times are gonna look like here, but I think it's gonna be pretty decent. And on top of that, it's the Nordschleife. I think this is my favorite track and my favorite event. And yeah, the times, I think it's gonna be pretty crazy. And the time required for the gold now is 7 minutes 53 seconds, and you need to get 7:44 and to get yourself a certificate. So 31 days, it's a long event, and I think a 7:39 should be reachable. I think this is gonna drop a lot more, and I think people will definitely get a 7:44 eventually. So let's jump into it. And just when I started this event, I realized that this car is difficult to handle. It's so understeer and it's quite heavy. But then I kind of realized that you shouldn't be trail braking at all, or just minimize your trail braking as much as possible. So it didn't take me that much time to eventually get a good result here, and I think the only thing that I kind of changed instantly was upshifting at the right point. It's basically when the car beeps. It's kind of interesting. So when the car gives you that little beep, you upshift, and on top of that, no trail braking, because otherwise the car will slide. And you can see that in my first lap or two, that car was sliding so much. I eventually got a pretty decent result. I mean, it was kind of a good lap in the end, not gonna complain too much about it, but it just wasn't good enough. So I should be gaining about 744, I was in 747, so the car was looking okay, and just about the next lap I improved my result and I got a 46.2. And I saw, okay, there are a couple of points that I need to change, and I eventually did exactly that. I stopped kind of trail braking. I basically did cornering in higher gears because the car understeers quite a lot in lower gears, and it happened, a 744. And yes, just like that, it's P17 in the world, and it is a 744.130, which will get me that certificate. So I guess this pretty much sums it up. I mean, the fastest lap time, as I see, it's 7:38. So as far as it goes, it's going to be difficult to compete with something like that, but yeah, 17th in the world, and let's see what will actually be required to get that gold medal. And yes, just as I said before, here we got 752.565, which is currently standing for the gold medal, but if you want to get the certificate, you will have to achieve 744.881, which I did in this video. So I guess with all of these other features, with all of these other stuff here, and I think we got a couple of good ones, but here I'm just not using scapes that much, and this is becoming like a photography mode GT7, I guess, without additional tracks, without additional content. But I mean, the esports event plus 3 new cars are kind of okay. Will I be using those cars? I really don't think so. So we got scapes. I will probably maybe once use this. I'm not sure if I'm gonna ever use escapes like that. I mean, it's fun. It's, you know, it requires a lot of patience to get the perfect result. We got a cafe menus, which are once again a nice touch, but without additional circuits, without the additional big events, I don't see this as a real deal or a real update. So, you know, if I'm gonna give it a grade, I would be right about 5 out of 10 or maybe 6 out of 10. So yeah, it's kind of okay, but it's missing a lot of content, and it's missing one additional track, and you know, I think it's missing a couple of other modes in the game as well. And what can I even say? We can once again have a look at the update files, and you can see 3 cars, a couple of new things. What can I even say? I would say this deserves 5 out of 10. So please guys, let me know what you think about this update in the comments down below. I'm just gonna say, I really hope that the next one will be better. So until the next time, bye.